The world is a global village.
And that's because information travels beyond boundaries.
And on This Morning on ITV,
we guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. This Morning on ITV TMR. Join us.
All right, thank you so much for staying tuned to Independent Television. The program is This Morning on ITV, and I told you that we're going to be looking at the ongoing talks here and there concerning the sack of some very special aides to the Vice President. And of course, recall that recently we understand that the presidency had to do a kind of a shake-up, you know, talking about aides, special advisors in the presidency generally. But about 2-3 days ago now, we understand that about 35, 36, you know, special aides to the Vice President have been sacked. So these has been eliciting reactions from members of the public, politicians and all that. And some have even tied it to the 2023 election. Some say that it is because of the fact that the Vice President seemed to be nursing a presidential ambition for 2023 election. So for them, the best way that the President can actually, let me use the word now, deflate the influence that the Vice President is trying to gather is to make sure that they remove some special aides from him. These are the talks, you know, that have been trailing the recent sack of aides to the Vice President. Well, to discuss this morning, we are so privileged to have Barrister Abraham Oviawe. He's a civil rights activist, a human rights activist.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to the program this morning on ITV.
Good morning.
We're also expecting Mr. Pius Alile, who is a public commentator. And of course, when he comes, he's going to join us so that he can bear his mind on some of the issues that we're going to be looking at here one more time this morning. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So I guess you would have read or you would have seen some of the members of those that form the special aides to the Vice President. And only recently we understand that I didn't even know that the Vice President is not saying a kind of a presidential you know, ambition. Anyway, that's on the lighter side, because some of these things you take them and you see them, you just take them with a pinch of the salt. So what's your reaction?
Yeah, just to say that as a citizen of Nigeria and having the qualification, anybody's at liberty to aspire.
Okay.
Whether that aspiration will exceed the rooftop of his house is another kettle of fish. The point to be made here, do not forget that the sack of the aides to the president wasn't even the first step. You recall that the media was awash when we were told that some of the aides who were within the Aso Rock, within a villa, were sent out of the villa because they had their offices there.
Yeah.
The first thing was to send them out of the villa to Maitama, and people had argued, how do these people connect easily? You send them out of the villa claiming you needed to use the place X, Y, Z. And before then, you had heard that there were overwhelming pressure on the Vice President to resign. Whether these things are right or they have become realities right now, you agree with me, and with the way we had followed political trend in this country, when you are getting insinuations like this, it may still remain within the realm of rumors, but quite clearly something is not right up there.
Yeah, but when the presidency told us before this time that they were going to do a major shakedown, because it seems that the cost of running governance is kind of high on the presidency. We didn't hear all these talks. How come it's when you know, aides to the Vice Presidents are now being sacked that we're still hearing these talks?
The point being made is like a man who says, he's fighting corruption, who before becoming president or becoming governor or become local government chairman criticized medical tourism. And when he emerges, he becomes the alpha and omega of medical tourism. The point I'm trying to make here is that if you say you are cutting costs, how many ministers How many ministries were created before the second term of the president? We had lesser persons into various ministries before this new tenure. We had more ministers here. What that presupposes is that the wage bill will ordinarily expand, as it were. I have no problem with the president wanting to cut costs. But my only worry is that if with the number of aides the presidency had, and we are unable, which apparently they are to advise, they are to assist, they are to ensure the day-to-day running of governance for the total best of the entire people. If with that large volume of persons, no meaningful development have been able to reach the poorest of the poor in the hinterland, feel the impact in terms of road, in terms of social amenities, in terms of stabilizing the economy to the best of the average man, and now you are downsizing, it means that we are going to get less than what we claim apparently we've been getting. Make no mistakes about it. I'm not trying to say that it is the volume of aids that determine the workability and the productiveness of any government.
Okay.
But I'm trying to say ordinarily, if government is sacking these aids in good faith, I have no problem with it. But the stories, for example, a learned senior advocate of Nigeria, Michael Zokomehat, has retorted about 2 days ago that the vice president, if he is truly a man with manhood, he should fight the cabal.
Barrister of your way, let us.
The point I'm trying to say here, the report I'm trying to say here, beyond what the explanation the presidency has given for being the basis for this sack of the aids, I am trying to tell you that there is an undercurrent.
Yeah, but you will also recall that this sacking is not peculiar to the office of the vice president. I mean, before this time, we also heard about the sacking even in the office of the president himself. So how come people did not react and only react in this way now?
No, you see, the point that does not take away from the fact. Okay, how many aides does the vice president now have?
Well,
whatever is happening is fine.
Yeah.
You see, one very worrisome and disturbing trend about politics is that it's referred to what Fela calls suffering and smiling. You see a man, he's being suffocated. He's passing through hard times in the hands of his superior. But because of this game they call politics, he will lack the capacity. He become mute to these injustices being meted on him. He can't even cry out. He can't even cry out. Because they will say when you cry out, it's an impeachable. For me, ordinarily, if I'm in an office and there are situations that make things very difficult for me, cry out. But unfortunately, he cannot. The vice president has been the major defender of this government. In fact, they have had cause to speak on the government on all issues, supposedly, which apparently is not a problem at all. But the point I'm trying to make is that I agree with the presidency. I agree with the presidency for whatever reason they have given for the sack of the aides of the vice president. The vice president must take it the way it is. It is part of his support for this government, and if they have collectively as a people, if the people agree that there is need to downsize, so be it. But the point I'm trying to make, that granted that other aides were also sacked beyond the office of the vice president, but all is not well in the presidency. And like you have rightly said, and has which already are what, because
but Barrister Abraham, I think when you say all is not well in the presidency, I think we also need to expatiate something more here. Now, the president has not done anything ultra vires the constitution. By constitution, the president has the power to employ aides and sack, or let's say the presidency. And of course, it is the president that brings that into actualization. So I think we also need to exercise, you are a lawyer, we need to exercise, our thoughts along what the constitution says and what the constitution
yes,
says.
in the exercise of the powers given to any public officer within the law, what is key is that in the exercise of that power, in exercising your power as a president, you may be exercising it in bad faith. I'm not concerned. I'm not saying the president do not have the power to hire and fire. No. I am saying that we must look at it from the perspective whether or not the president, in the exercise of that power, has acted in good faith or in bad faith. And again, this is the point I am driving at. Granted, the president has the powers to hire. He can wake up tomorrow and also fire. But the point is that it's really the rationale for the sack of these aides. Are they in good faith?
Are you accepting the rationale that the presidency has given?
I am asking, it's a rhetorical question which does not lie in your mouth. It lies in the belly of time. Event lies in the womb of time. Whether you had acted in good faith or had acted in bad faith, time will tell. And that's why I have said that what we call rumor, meaning within the corridors of powers in this country, only time will expose all this to us to see if truly the sack of this aid were done in good faith or in bad faith. I do not work there. At best, what I get is disjointed or snippets of facts or questions and answers from the media. That alone is not sufficient for me to conclude that the president in himself had acted in that good faith. But the president says he's cutting sides. I can confront him with so many areas where they are being extravagant, so many areas where they are being inactions. If the president is so proactive,
it means you don't take the position of what the presidency has said, the reasons that they are given. Because just like what I said a while ago, that this thing happened, we saw it even aides to the president. Nobody reacted, only for the vice president and people are reacting.
yes, if the president sacks his own aide, he has no reason for doing that. But if he sacks the aide, granted that he appoints, the vice president usually will send him a list for those he wants to work with.
Yeah.
And the law allows him to appoint them and also allows him to fire, because their employment is not, their appointment is not garb or savour the statutory flavor. As such, they can hire and fire them. The point being made, and I will reiterate on it, the sack of this aid, are they done in good faith? Truly as stated by the presidency, that it is to downsize the cost of governance? If that is correct,
You accept it.
I accept it.
And if it's not correct,
But if it is to ridicule the vice president, apparently on the basis of suspicion that is aspiring to be president, they want to deflate him so that by 2023 he would have been so disseminated to an extent that he will not even be thinking of aspiring. The rumor have made it that there are plans to impeach him. They are asking him to apparently resign. But until these things come to bear, comes to the fore, you and I cannot take it very seriously. We will still leave it at the realm of rumors.
now, Barrister,
But going by
Barrister, the question we also then ask, because just going by what you said now, that there are rumors why the presidency is taking this move, or the vice president is to deflate his political, how will I put it now, his political influence, you know. But the question that we ask, of what importance are aides to the vice president? Are you saying that without aides, the vice president cannot gather, you know, political importance that he has? What is the relationship?
You see one thing from my own little experience, and as a keen watcher of political activities in this state and country, you will agree with me that a leader without a follower is in truth not a leader. The point being made here, when you want to gather or galvanize support, there are chains of reaction. If I appoint Mr. A to be my aide, if God makes it come to pass and I'm the president or vice president tomorrow, that aide has a wife and they have children. They are relatives. People can draw blood or draw strength from that connection. You would have put food on the tables of so many persons. And those form the army of first-line charge followers who apparently be there with you. But when they leave you lonely, you are now left. In fact, what that will presuppose is, if truly 35 aides. And I'm asking, for example, what does the president need 35 aides for?
The vice president.
The vice president in the first place.
Yeah.
When his duty, apart from statutorily being chairman of some various committees, does he need that array of 35 aides when he is there to stand in when the president is not there? And I can see clearly, let me also tell you, I can see clearly that the sack of those aides are in bad faith.
So you are taking side already?
Yes, if you say so. Because for example, the president is not in the country. And by natural rules of engagement, it presupposes that the vice president should act on the stead of the president. But I speak to you, the vice president is not acting.
No, you cannot say so.
I want to give you a reason. No,
you cannot say so.
I am a lawyer. I know what it takes to back up your points, your statement with fact, hardcore fact.
Yeah.
For example, 2 weeks ago, the National Assembly passed
a bill
into law awaiting the assent of the president. It's expected that the president, having left the shores of this country, naturally puts that vice president in the stead of the president to take charge. The chief of staff and other aides had to send this bill, re-roll this bill to the president in London.
Is that unconstitutional? Is that unconstitutional?
Good. Now, what is unconstitutional? The constitution says the assent should be done by the president.
Okay.
Same constitution also says that where the president is unavailable, the vice president stands in his stead. And
also the constitution says that the president can also rule from any part of the world.
No constitution says so.
But by inference.
No, if you say
I'm not a lawyer.
How say so?
I'm not a lawyer. But
naturally, if the president is leaving his country, for example, he's supposed to transmit letter to the National Assembly. That will be away for some time. The vice president will take that. But that wasn't done in this state. He's out, and apparently they have taken the bill. That again suggests to you that they do not want the vice president to act at any level. They want the president to call the shot. Whatever is their disagreement, whatever is their issues with the vice president and his actions and inactions within government, I expect them to resolve it. And rather than involve themselves in this line of politics, Nigerians are suffering.
Anyway,
Nigerians are not happy.
That's your own opinion. That Nigerians are suffering.
If you say Nigerians are in the best of their best with this current government, like we have had previously, is begging the question and being economical with the truth.
Yeah, but I think we also need to exercise when we say Nigerians are suffering. You are not suffering. Are you not a Nigerian?
No, if you say if you want to assess whether I am suffering, you must assess me comparatively.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying this
of
is
my
that
age outside the shores of this country, what they have attained, what they have access to, what government, what the society have made available for them, and the openings, etc. I am saying that where we are currently is not where we ought to be.
Okay. Now,
government should show out and be there for its citizenry rather than involve in unnecessary politicking.
Okay. Now, let's see the list, some of the aides affected. We're told that Ajibola Ajayi, the daughter of former governor of Oyo State, that's Isiaka Abiola Ajimobi, was affected, who was before this time a special assistant legal to the office of the vice president. And also we also told that the public enterprise BEE VP's office from October to, she was also in position of that office from October 2015 to date 2019. And we also have others, Larry Osibona, the senior special assistant SSA on ICT, and Ime Okon, SA on infrastructure, Jide Awolowo, SA oil and gas, Gambo Manzo, SA political, and Dobo Iyamo, SA Niger Delta. We'll even have one Benin person there.
Yeah.
Now, some have also said that these people, because of their political ties to some persons that perhaps are not friends of the presidency. These are talks, making the rounds. that perhaps are not friends of the presidency.
Let
me ask my question. Let me ask my question. These are talks. Yes. So we cannot say they are correct, no, they are not correct, but somehow we just need to discuss about them. So what do you make of that?
I feel that until we up our game beyond primitive style of politics, beyond chasing shadow rather than substance, beyond avoiding ourselves from specifics and involving frivolities, we may not be able to get there. Because for me, apparently, why do you assess a person in a government on the basis of where his loyalty ties, rather than assessing him from the quality of service he can render, from his intellectual sagacity and capacity, from what he's able to put on the table to advance the course of governance for the good of majority, for the vast majority of the people. I feel that should be the core issues on the front burner. Granted that if you must work with me, you must be aligned to the thinking and aspiration and guide and structure of the government of the day. But I feel beyond just political patronage, we must align ourselves with individuals who have the capacity to change the course of governance around, and to put things in the right perspective for the good of the majority of our people. Beyond all these frivolities around, it's not aligned to those of the presidency, blah, blah, blah. The vice president was one of the major forces of this current administration.
And he is still.
Yes, but he seems to have lost his voice. He seems to have lost his voice in the last few weeks. Immediately after they were able to conquer from the second term from the Api tribunal, we saw a different ball game entirely. The vice president have lost his voice.
Well, you cannot say
and I asked him to.
You cannot say so that the vice president has lost his
Don't
voice.
hear from
Now,
me anymore.
I'll tell you something. Now, we're also told that when letters were sent to these affected aides, that the vice president retrieved those letters. I mean, it shows that he has authority. I mean, for somebody, going by what you are saying, for somebody that has lost his voice, you think he has the authority to retrieve those letters?
So how you mean?
Letters sent from the president?
So hold on. Let me even tell you. That again answers the question you have asked in different style and pattern since we started this discussion. If letters were sent to the aides and the vice president retrieves the letter, it means he was never aware that his aides were to be sacked. In the same government where there is synergy between the president and the vice president, it's expected that they must be on the same train. If they want to cut costs in governance, they want to cut costs, it means that it must be a policy statement. It must be a policy direction of the government, which the president and the vice president are an integral part of. If as part of that new policy direction include cutting down aids, so it's expected that the vice president must be in the know, particularly when aides who are working directly with him are to be sacked. If he retrieves the letter, it means he was not part of it. Because if he was part of it, he apparently would have called them in advance to tell them we have resolved. We'll see what you can do. Apparently, they will have that letter. He will not have to retrieve it. That again answers the questions that all is not well. And I expect that the government must not test the patience of Nigerians, because we do not expect to ever hear that there is an unhealthy rivalry between the office of the president and that of the vice president, or there are plans to intimidate into silence, or there are plans to reduce the influence of the vice president into silence for primitive reasons, beyond reasons which will advance the cause of Nigeria. So our patience must not be tested. Falana had blasted recently that the president is on a path towards third term. Constitutionally, the constitution doesn't allow him in the first place. Our eyes are open, our fingers are crossed. Nigerians' patience should not be tested.
All right, thank you so much. Now, I wanted us to see more of the list, but the system here won't just come up. Now, Barrister, what do you make of this talk, influence, and all that? Some will say that the vice presidents may not, the presidents may not be necessarily more influential than the vice president, because both of them were voted for, you know, they ran under the same political parties and all that. They were sworn in the same day and all that. So what do you make of the talk, people making rounds that it is because, just like what you said, it is because to lessen his political influence? The question is, do you think the president is necessarily more influential than the vice president?
Make no mistakes about it. Our constitutional democracy gives more power to the president governor than the vice president deputy governor. In fact, to the extent that the vice president or the deputy governor, in the case of president and governor respectively, can only enjoy the length and breadth of power to the extent at which the president or the governor can give.
How exactly do you mean?
Good. Whatever power to be exercised by the vice president or the deputy governor will be determined by the president or the governor.
But you cannot say so. We have the Constitution. It is the
Have you
Constitution that
read the
determines...
powers of the vice president?
But some will say that it is the Constitution that determines, not the president,
No,
not the
let me
governor.
let me tell you. When the Constitution is not explicit by saying you must do X, Y, Z, the Constitution ties the powers of the vice president to that of the president. It's expected that it is the extent I give. What do you make out of it if the aides to the vice president is appointed by the president? Those who will work with the vice president is determined by the president. You may want the XYZ to work with you, but the president doesn't want it. You want to prove it. What do you make out of it? Is the life wire, is the blood of governance of the vice president not tied to that of the president by that necessary implication? Your lessons is to avoid unhealthy rivalry. Because either you like it or not, the president is the boss. And the vice president is his subordinate. Clean and clear. It's so everywhere. So apparently, he serves as an assistant to the president and stands in his stead when he's away. And as long as the president is there, he's exercising all this power, and the president can exercise power as much as the vice president will. The vice president will exercise power as much as the president is willing to give. So if I give you a long latitude to hold meetings, long latitude to chair several government parastatals or on specific issues, I can wake up one day and disseminate it and appoint somebody else without even telling you. We have seen it in this same government. The vice president used to be the chairman of the economic council and suddenly an advisory board.
Yeah, but they have to complement each
yes, yes. We are saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing. Saying they have to complement. It means that the strength which that hitherto committee had weighed is whittled down by the presence of the advisory board, because we have more specific and specialized individuals more now there. And the question you will ask, was the president that vice president attention called before the advisory board was constituted? You have the answers to those questions.
All right, Barrister, I also wanted to bear your mind on this seemingly concept of, they call them those that are very influential around the presidency, those that constitutionally they really don't have, you know, that power, so to say. But you just find that somehow, God knows how, they just become influential. Like some are not too comfortable with Abba Kyari taking the bill to the president in London. So what do you make in all of this as it relates to our democracy?
Very good. Just to say clearly that what you have mentioned with respect to those who are behind the scene is seen everywhere in the world. it only varies with respect to the quality of influence they wield on the president. For example, we are seated here on this program. There are persons behind the camera who makes these things to work. They are the one who projects. They are the one who give all it needs to do. Without them, we cannot drive this process. Without them, what we are, our voice will not be audible to the various public to hear. They are there everywhere. The issues now, what are the quality of influence they wear? Does the president listen to them 100%? Or take their advice and consult other persons and apparently move? But we have seen in this government, you are at liberty to wave it away and say they are all rumor. We have seen the overbearing influence of the chief of staff, who is Habakari, and one Mama Daura, which a lot of persons have mentioned. I have never seen his face. I've only heard of him. That when he needs something done, like if you want to even get an appointment in this presidency, you want to speak to him, apparently, and if the president tells you you are getting it and then he says you won't get it, you are most likely not going to get it. Unless the president is able to convince him and if he, to say don't worry please, or able to beg him to allow his. But the point being made is that all governments across the world, they have those who are apparently behind the scene. It's like the product you see in the market looks so beautiful. People praise that particular product. There are persons behind it. There are persons who does this packaging. It's there everywhere. The president has people behind the camera who sit him down, direct him, guide him on how he ought to go ordinarily. Our president of this country is an outspoken person. He doesn't, as an individual, looking at him, you see him as quite simple. See him as one person who doesn't have a problem at all.
No, let us.
No, but you see hard and tough decisions. Hard and tough pronouncements.
And that's what leadership should
coming
be.
apparently from him.
Yeah.
But when you interface with him, the quality of ideas he exchanged is not commensurate.
Excuse
me.
I
am doing a face analysis now.
We're talking about the president here.
No, because the president have had several media chats.
You cannot say the quality. That would be derogatory. We're talking about.
It's not the derogatory.
It's
the way it is. If you want to say we cannot talk about it, I can choose to avoid it. But if we must talk about it, we must say the way it is. If you say we cannot make reference to it, I will allow it. But if we must make reference to it, we will not beg the question. We must say it the way it is. The point being made here.
That's your own opinion.
I waive that.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
Yes, it's not to cast aspersion at the president. The point I'm trying to make is that the president have had several media chats, questions and answers sections from media in the last few years. And Nigerians have their reservations as to his interface, the quality of ideas he shared. They have their own judgment about that. It's not for us to now start comparing, but I leave it at that. But the point I'm trying to make is that beyond this politics for 2023, who all these individuals who are pushing here and they are not even sure if God will spare their life till then. Beyond all this, we are not sure of what God has for all of us. So I feel that they must take it one after the other. The quality of governance, stability in our economy, social amenities
should be paramount.
Which they promise Nigerians. We must see it play out.
Okay.
Take us away from your politics. Nigerians are concerned about what you are willing to give to them as citizenry. If they voted for you, they want to bet equilibrium. If they believed what you said in your electioneering campaigns, and that formed the base upon which they supported you, Nigeria want to see how what you have said are coming to play. Leave us out of whether you sack 28 or 58. If that will make your electioneering campaign be brought to the doorstep of the people by way of implementation, we are fine.
Okay, so it means you probably have answered your question.
Yeah, we're fine because every government have mirrors from which they did they view development?
Exactly. That's
The previous government may feel I need more aids to drive the process ordinarily. Take, for example, Edo State, for example. When this government came on board, he said rather than picking aids, he said, I want to take aids from all the various wards.
Each ward must have an aid.
Each ward
an advisor.
must have an aid and advisor. You're getting it.
Special assistance.
Yes, so that no ward in the state will not be represented in the government. Even though they also have their councillors in the various local governments.
Yeah.
At the state level, I want to bring them on board. How well he has been able to utilize the capacity of those aids for the general good of the people, even though they have not been sacked, is for him to analyze from the mirror from which he views governance. Because government may have appointed 3 to 4 aides from one ward, some didn't have.
So what you're saying,
they have their own mirror from which they viewed it.
All right. So
and the summary of it all is that the people may have their perspective on what they feel, on what ought to be done. That does not take from the fact that every government, no matter how slow, have a way, manner, and method from which it needs to drive it. Take us out from the politics. And I expect, driving towards 5 years in office of this current administration, towards 5 years in office, I expect they should start counting their gains. We are tired of hearing rhetorics. We are tired of giving us statistics. We want to feel it. We want to feel it in terms of the economy. We want to feel it directly.
Yeah, but some, well, and you see, the point is like saying it depends on the way you see it. What you are saying now, some may not agree with it. Some will say that things are working fine, the economy is growing and all that. So,
yes, those are statistics. Those are theoretical perspective.
Anyway,
you and I are talking of practically.
Barrister,
we live in a society now.
Barrister, because of time, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on our program. Barrister Abraham Oviawe is a constitutional lawyer and, of course, a human rights activist. Well, Pius Alile couldn't make it to this program, but we do hope that some other time he will come so that he can bear his mind on some of the issues too. Well, the program is still this morning on ITV. We'll take a short pause now. Please stay tuned.
Hello there.